今天跟先生谈了很多关于抑郁症的问题。作为医生呢，我先生呢更了解这种病对人的危害，所以呢我也向他呢咨询了一些问题。
I think the depressed people need to take medicine.
Well, everybody who's depressed can take medicine if they want to, but whether you should depends a lot on how depressed you are. So if you're a little bit depressed, whether or not you need medicine is probably, it might work and it might not work. It may not, even if it works a little bit, it may be so little that it doesn't matter. It's probably more important to be talking to a therapist, talk therapy. You get more depressed, and now, yeah, it's probably worth at least trying some medication. We still don't know that it's going to be a lot of help, but it may be enough help in addition to a therapist that it's worth trying. If you get very depressed, then yes, it's really important to be thinking about some sort of medicine or other medical therapy in addition to a talk therapist. Severe depression really needs all the treatment you can get. People die from this, people lose work, people lose their jobs, people lose their family. And so it's important to bring everything to the table that you can when people are severely depressed. Medication is a good way to do that. There are some other medical therapies that are not medication, but almost everybody who is very depressed really should be on medication and find a medication or a combination of medication that works and stay on that medication for a long period of time. If you quit the medication, if your depression completely goes away, your depression completely goes away with the medication, and you stop the medication less than a year after your complete recovery, there's a very high chance you're going to go right back into depression.
Oh, that's
So
good.
So I tell people, that's great that the medicine's working. Once you are completely 100% healed, we're going to stay on the medicine for another full year, and then we're going to talk about whether to try tapering off the medication slowly. Some people just decide, I don't ever want to go through that again. I'll just keep taking the medicine for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And that's a perfectly okay answer. And then, 5 years later, they decide, nah, maybe I want to try going off of it. Fine, we can do that. But you don't take medicine when you're very, very depressed, get a lot better, and then just stop the medication. That's dangerous. That help?
Yes, thank you.
Sure. That'll be $50.
This
Yeah, but there you have. That watermelon is not worth $50.
most people can totally recover if you take medicine.
A lot of people can. Yeah, probably most. I don't have the statistics right off the top of my head. But I would bet that most of them, with good talk therapy and good medication management, really can recover completely. Of course, what I see is the people who don't recover. So when you ask me, I think about, God, I haven't seen a patient completely recover in years, but that's because I see the people who don't do well on any of the treatments. That's how they get to be on my list. So I only see the ones who just keep getting worse. But yeah, if you were to ask the average therapist and the average psychiatrist in private practice, yeah, I think they would say that most people with major depressive disorder really can recover.
Nowadays, a lot of people has depression.
There's been a lot of people who had depression forever. It's just that we notice it now.
Yeah.
It's okay for people to talk about it.
Yeah, some people said in the ancients
The ancient people?
or ancient people, they never talk about the depression.
Oh yeah, they did.
Really?
Yeah, they did. You can look back at some of the things they wrote. They're absolutely talking about terrible depression.
But in China, nobody before knows that.
Well, yes. So I mean, in some cultures, it was okay to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
In Western cultures, in places like Europe, it was a little bit more okay for educated and high-level people to talk about depression. The low people, nobody cared if they were depressed.
Oh, sure.
So, when you don't have enough food and your kids are dying of simple diseases and the king is sending men to take taxes even though you don't have anything at all, a lot of those people were depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But there was nobody to write about it because nobody cared about those people.
Yeah.
A little bit more modern,
Mm.
Winston Churchill, who was the Prime Minister of England, sort of the President of England, during World War II, the war against Adolf Hitler.
Oh.
Winston Churchill used to write about these terrible periods of just blackness, that all he could feel was blackness. And it wasn't about the war. He'd had these problems off and on for years and years.
Mm.
He went through terrible depression.